Just in, the former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon has agreed to an interview with special counsel Robert Mueller in the Russia investigation. The subpoena, which was issued by Mueller last week, would have required Bannon to appear before a grand jury. But Bannon can avoid that by meeting with the special counsel's team instead. Yesterday, Bannon testified before the House Intelligence Committee for 10 hours behind closed doors. Here's California Congressman Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat, after that hearing.
We obviously had a long day with Mr. Bannon today. It began by being informed by Mr. Bannon's counsel that as he was attending on a voluntary basis, he was going to decline to answer any questions concerning any discussions, meetings, conversations that took place either during the transition or during his time in the administration. After we explored several attempts to try to elicit information that took place during those periods, we convened on a bipartisan basis and agreed to the issuance of a subpoena to make his attendance at the hearing compulsory.
Well, today, former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski and Deputy White House Chief of Staff and Senior Transition Aide Rick Dearborn are both testifying before the House Intelligence Committee. Here to break down where this goes from here, our senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. First of all, in talking about Steve Bannon and what he told the committee yesterday, we're sort of dealing with hearsay and leaks, right?
We are, and I'm very frustrated, as are most of us that watch this for a living, because democracy dies in darkness. And when we don't know what happened, we have leaks from Democrats who say this happened and leaks from Republicans who say that happened. It's tough to piecemeal exactly what did occur, but it appears as though, and this is very unusual what happened yesterday, Steve Bannon and his lawyers agreed that Bannon would come voluntarily, but once he got there, didn't answer any questions. So why show up if you're not going to answer any questions? Then the House served him with a subpoena and tried to compel the testimony immediately. Well, once you give the person the subpoena, he has 10 days to prepare for the testimony or challenge the subpoena. Translation, he'll be back in 10 days and will be compelled to answer questions under oath.
But he was advising the President of the United States. Can he not claim executive privilege?
He can claim executive privilege in 3 narrow areas, and I'm not sure, because again, we don't know what happened, that the committee is interested in these areas. Diplomatic secrets, military secrets, sensitive national security matters. The committee is asking him about conversations that occurred during the campaign and the transition when Donald Trump wasn't the president, so there is no privilege. And they're also asking him questions about the firing of Jim Comey after Trump was president, and that's not covered by military, diplomatic, or sensitive national security. When there is a dispute, this goes to a judge in secret again, and the judge decides, yeah, you invoked the privilege properly, or no, you didn't answer the question.
So he's going to testify to Mueller's team rather than testify in front of a grand jury, we understand, right?
Yes. Now, this is not formal testimony. There will be a record of what he says, but he won't be under oath. However, the penalty for lying to FBI agents and federal prosecutors is the same penalty as perjury. This is a very dangerous environment for Steve Bannon. His predecessors, George Papadopoulos and General Mike Flynn, did the same thing. They walked into a perjury trap. That's where the government asks you a series of questions almost to guarantee that you will answer falsely, because the government knows a lot more about the case than you know they know.
What if he just says, I don't recall?
It's unlikely that he could be charged with any crime if that is a true and accurate representation of his mind. And if it's not, there really would be no way for the government to find out unless he walks out in the hallway and says, aha, I really do recall.
So who has the lead in this investigation right now? Is it the House Intel Committee? Is it Mueller's team?
Well, that is a great question, John. And Bob Mueller subpoenaed Steve Bannon right at the time that he was appearing before the House Intelligence Committee, because a prosecutor does not want a potential witness testifying in a forum that he doesn't control. So Bob Mueller is running the show, and for some reason Steve Bannon's lawyers are negotiating with Bob Mueller and have agreed to produce him against the learned advice of never talk to a guy that owns a grand jury. He'll trap you.
We will continue to watch this fascinating case. Judge Andrew Napolitano, our senior judicial analyst.
Pleasure to be with you, Johnny.
Thank you.